Hello and welcome to my channel. So this video I thought I would just make a quick patch notes review for the latest patch notes. It's not gonna be like a really long one, it's not gonna be like 1 hour or anything, it's gonna be like a quick one, maybe 10 minutes, trying to give you like a quick summary of what changes are and what I think of them or whatnot. So this is gonna be live March 9, which is I don't know when I'll upload this video, which is soon anyways. But yeah, it's just gonna be like it's gonna be like 4 days. It's like a mini patch where they make like the more immediate changes they wanna make, which isn't like the big patch. It's the patch that you don't even notice it happened. It's a bonus update note. So these are the skins. Obviously, all higher skins are good. I'll probably leave links in the description if you want to come see the skins and what they look like and want to read the changes yourself. So this is the first change at the beginning of the season. I think this is basically like a healing patch notes. Like they just changed all the healing because they changed a lot at the beginning of the season. They made it so well. What they changed was if you're out of combat, you heal for less kind of thing. And because they're worried about like they're trying to make changes to healing in general, out of combat healing isn't as strong. So they're gonna basically just reduce the window where full healing is allowed. So it used to be 4 seconds, it's gonna be 3 now. That's basically it. And but at the same time, they are buffing or like reverting the nerfs of all the anti items again back to 40%. So Divine Runes 40, Brawlers, Toxic Blade, Pestilence is back to 25. Toxic Blade when you add it up is up to 40 again. So all the changes they made to the items, they reverted them all. But with that though, they also nerfed Kaduka's shield by a lot. That's 250 gold. That is a pretty big deal for when you kind of get this item like third or fourth a lot of the time. That's a pretty big nerf. I don't know if quite needed that, and it's kind of surprising seeing them nerf that and not nerf Asclepius as well. It's like, well, that's like the other version of the item for the magicals, but we'll see if Asclepius is the problem. I'm sure they'll nerf it. But yeah, I think Caduceus is the problem. I think it was just Guan, man. Like Guan with this item was super strong. So like kind of nerfing this item just for Guan. I feel like who else bought this item? Like on the top of my mind, I don't remember anyone actually buying this item other than Guan because like you could buy it on like Naja maybe, but not anymore. It kind of sucks on Naja now. You could buy it on Gods, but I really think he saw it that much, other than on Guan. But we'll see. 250 gold is a pretty big deal, so I think they're gonna end up reverting this maybe to like 2.3k or 2350. So I feel like got a pretty big nerf, which I don't think it really deserved. Like I think it's okay to have crit be meta for a while. I think Hunters are pretty strong right now. Ignore what some people say. Hunters are pretty strong right now. They definitely are one of the best points in Smite history, I say, for Hunters, because like I think Warriors like they're not as good. Like they're not really that tanky. I don't know. Like I think Hunters are fine. Okay, like I don't think Hunters were bad. They were really strong with crit. Berserker was really strong in them, but fail not and Berserker ball getting nerfs, so Hunters are getting a pretty big hit this patch. So even though you build Berserkers on Warriors, sometimes it was mainly a Hunter item for this last patch, like the beginning of the season, pretty much. So they reduced the power from 45 to 40, increased crit chance from 20% to 10%, but they increased the crit chance like for when you like use your ult. So basically 5% less crit chance, but it's more than that. Like 10% crit chance is pretty depressing. Seriously, like that item doesn't really give you crit chance. You give you crit chance when you ult now, so you get 30% when you ult. Without the ult, you don't actually like. I wouldn't even think that 10% is something like oh like man, I'm critting. Like I feel like now if you want to ever build Fail Not, you're gonna need to have like rage or something to ever make this item work. Like we're just going like Wind Demon and Fail Not alone, like you're not really gonna be critting much. So I would probably revert the crit chance. Sure, the power is fine. I would probably revert the crit chance buff at least to like make it 15 and 20. Like I think that's fair. The 10 is really low, but we'll see. I think they'll end up reverting this at some point. Maybe changing the item a little bit. And maybe even remove like 20% cooldown on the item is kind of weird for a hunter. Like maybe just make it 10% as well and revert the crit. So make this 15 and 20 and then end up giving it like take the cooldown down to 10% instead of 20. Well, we'll see what they end up doing. Berserker, that's also a pretty big nerf. Increase the cost by 100, decrease power by 10, decrease attack speed by 5. So that's triple nerf. I don't know if the item needed that necessarily. I probably would have been enough doing these first two. I mean, 5% isn't like such a huge deal, but nerfs add up when they do triple nerfs like that. And when I say triple nerfs, I know like Iris is like triple. They're not really triple nerfing. It's like technically one nerf to the item, but like nerfing three different stats. I never really liked it like that. But you know, the item just got really tuned down pretty much. And they also buffed Spectral, which is why crit is like got a big hit because like they also buffed Spectral. The amount of damage that crits do uh go down from 50% to 40%. So I don't know if they really needed to do that. Like, but you know, I guess it's fine. I don't know why they buff Spectral while nerfing Failnut, but I mean, Hyris kind of does this a lot. Like they buff something, then nerf something, then buff something, nerf something. So they nerfed Failnut and nerfed Berserkers and buffed Spectral. So of course Hunters are like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why are we getting butchered? Which I agree. Like, I don't think you need to do triple nerfs like that. But you know, Hyris does what Hyris wants. Which is fine. I don't think it's bad. Like having one patch where hunters are not as strong. Like I don't know, it's whatever. And for me, of course, I'm a biased jungler maybe, but like I don't mind when some role is weaker for one patch. Obviously, because if it's everything's just balanced, it's boring. You know, let's have some complaining for a little bit. I like it. And okay, so I didn't actually read this. So increase magical scaling per stack. So they increase the magical scaling per stack by increase the power. I mean, obviously that's a nerf. It's mainly a tweak for like us like Nua who would like abuse this item a lot. Uh, like really hard. Like they abuse the item super hard. But it's like a tweak. I wouldn't even say it's a nerf, but it's a nerf for someone like Nua anyways. But it's mainly just like a what's a tweak? What's it called? A switch? Whatever. You know what I'm saying. So the Cruise Apollo's been really popular since like a little bit before Worlds, maybe like a month or two before Worlds. Actually, I'd say mainly just right before Worlds. Like the last week of SPL, Apollo is like OP and everyone's picking him every game. I think Apollo is also just a lot stronger with Berserkers because he had this two as well, so like he would be really tanky. So and also split push got a little bit better in this season because of the map being bigger. So I don't know if Apollo needed nerf, but whatever. They did this buff I think a while ago, and now they're just kind of reverting it. So Dunsborough is like supposed to be like the OP hunter right now, like from ranked and stuff. Like every time he's in my games, he's actually just dominating. Like he just wins lane super hard. He gets solo kills and stuff. So I don't mind that he's getting nerfed. I like the ult nerf. I don't really think his ult needs to be 1.4 seconds done. 1 second consistently is just enough. Decrease the base damage. Sure, I don't see any problem with that. I think he was pretty strong. I think you gotta be really careful with a god like Densburg because I feel like he could be really good or really bad very quickly. Someone like Freya, for example, like she's either really OP or really shit. I think Densburg could fall in that as well. Cucullin. Cucullin's apparently the best solo right now. Cucullin and Tyr, I think. And Guan. Because Guan is because of healing, not even because of lane. Like, Guan is just because healing's OP, so he's, like, really up there. Cucullin was just, like, you pick him every game, you get pressure, like, and you just dominate solo. And with the Scorpion there, like, the mini Scorpion, and you kind of just get totems, you just give your team a lead. Like, I had to take against Cucullin in solo, and it's just, like, you're automatically, like, behind 400 gold. Like, because just Cucullin. They increase the power when he rages. I actually don't like that. I kind of like that he. Okay, you know what? Actually, that's fine because the Colin is like so OP when he's raging and he's so weak without rage that like you want to. I think eventually they want to make him better, a little bit better without rage as well to make it a bit even. But that's fine. Decrease power from 3 to 2 and transform. That's 20 power late game. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like you'll be fine. But it is 20 power is still like something you will notice. Like at level 17, 15 and stuff like it won't be 20, it will be like 15. You'll kind of notice it, but it's not the end of the world. Nerfing is won by 10 damage at all ranks. Sure, I don't think that item hit hard really, but you know, it's fine. It's a decent nerf. I don't know. Colin is such a weird god. He's always OP when people pick him, but he's not really played that much. Like every time there's a LAN or Worlds coming up, he starts getting picked more. So, but I don't mind seeing him nerfed anyways. He's such a big lane bully that I don't mind it that much. And Scylla's okay. I always thought Scylla was OP like for such a long time, and even before like Paul picked that world, like that god for an assassin because I play assassin. It has one counter which is a Relix, and it's not even that hard of a counter. Like Scylla can still play the game. It's not like you don't want to pick one god to counter one god. Like that's not really how the game works in my opinion. So, and even then you could pick Ravana, which is okay, but you don't really counter her. Like, you can pick Kabrakan, maybe, but she still has her dash to get out of your ult. Like, you can play into it, but I just thought the god is super safe. And when you have a god that's like unkillable because of how safe she can be, it makes there's only like it makes the game hard to play. Like, oh, we have to kill the hunter, then the hunter just plays really passive, and it's like you feel like you're out of moves. Like I don't know what to do. Like we always have no one to kill. And Scylla's cooldowns are super short, which I always thought was really weird. Like her one and two are both 10 seconds, which is like I don't know why her cooldowns are super short, but you know what, whatever. They nerfed the scaling on the one, sure. They nerfed the scaling on the two, and they nerfed the prot reduction that her two did, which I didn't really think that was that big of a deal, to be honest. Like rarely that really came into play, but you know that's whatever. So basically just 10% on her combo. So she had 500 power. Her combo would do 50 less damage pretty much. Like that's kind of all you need to look at. But these are the update notes that are gonna happen on March 9th. All these updates will go live, which is basically just like the immediate nerfs, like changes, like the healing, ADC is OP. Oh my god, nerf them. Buff crit. This item is OP on Nua, so let's change it. Then they nerf the two best hunters. Colin is the best soul laner, and Scylla, which is the best mage right now. I think Morgan's also up there, which I'll see if they can nerf her in the next patch. But yeah, so these are the update notes, and then we look at the other notes. A lot more skins, obviously, because it's a way bigger, like a lot more skins, because it's a way bigger patch. This will be March 23 when this update will go live. Wait, oh, there's another bonus update at some point. Okay, okay. I was like, wait, what is this? Blah blah blah. I'm not gonna talk about like that stuff. Like you can read on your own if you want. Maybe like let me know in the comments if you guys want me to like explain this stuff and the bugs and whatever. But you know, like these are all like fixes and stuff that you don't really need me to explain, I guess. So Stone of Foul got to rework. Two items got to rework this patch: Stone of Foul and Mail of Renewal. Stone of Foul. I don't know how good this item will be. Like the tier two is okay. I actually think it's pretty bad for 1.4k. But that's not really the point. The point is you get the tier three. So the problem with this item, the stats on it on its own, they don't look that good. Like it's like a little bit of everything, but a whole lot of nothing. Like you get 150 HP, which is okay, not bad, like not the worst. 35 magical power, which is kind of nothing, honestly. It's like 35 magical power is not a lot at all. You don't really feel it because mages like it's not if it because of the way like scaling works or whatever. Like 30 procs each, so that's okay. It's like I was that's basically a hybrid item that you would buy on Guardian, Solo, and Jungle, I feel like. But then you look at the passive. When you hit an enemy god with a basic attack, you get a stack of Foul's Blessing, giving you 2% damage mitigation per stack. At 3%, at 3 stacks, you gain double the damage mitigation, 20% CCR. So who the fuck is gonna auto attack? So I'm assuming it's not gonna work on Fafnir's autos and Gorm's autos automatically. Okay, so who buys this god? Who's a Guardian that would auto attack you to get those tags? So I guess technically this could be good on Ymir. So just to make it clear, like what the item gives. So you get 6% damage mitigation, and then you double that at 3 stacks, so you get 12% damage mitigation and 20% CCR, which is okay. It's pretty good actually. 12% damage mitigation, it's pretty good. The problem is like how do you use it? Like what characters can actually use this? So things that come to mind, Athena has a reach, she can apply it a little bit easier than other gods. Ymir's kind of auto attacks a lot, so maybe on him Umoja is a range god, Sylvanas is a range god. So you want to look at range, and then you want to look at gods that will actually auto attack when they're fighting. So Terra autos a lot, so maybe this item would be good on Terra. She's also a bit of a hybrid guardian that can do a lot of damage in solo, so maybe build this on her. But like, would you buy this item over other items? I guess is what I kind of think of all the time. Like, would I buy this over Voidstone? Which I think you could. I don't think Voidstone's particularly a good item. When you're trying to dive carries, it gives 5% protection reduction, which isn't really does literally nothing for carries. Like they have like 30 magical protection, you reduce that by 5. Like it's nothing. So this item could be really good. I'm definitely gonna try it on someone like Ymir and see like can I feel this damage mitigation. CCR, I don't know. CCR is such a like a stat that I feel like no one people rarely buy this item any item for CCR except Spirit Robe and Tank Boots. Oh, I'm against Athena. I'm gonna buy Tank to the Spirit Robe, and I don't have to worry about a taunt anymore. I don't have to worry about CC anymore. That's what you do. Like you're not gonna be like, they have Athena, but I don't want to build Spirit Robe, so I'm gonna build Stone of Foul. Like that's not gonna happen, you know. It doesn't happen. It's cool. It has 20% CCR, but I don't care about it at all, honestly. Like I don't even factor it when I'm thinking of the item. Mirror of Renewal also got a little rework. both items are kind of like items where like you do damage or take damage, you gain added effects. So 300 HP, 15 HP 5, 20 procs each. So the stats on the item, as you can see, they're not that good. Just the base stats, they're not like, oh my god, I want to buy this. They're like mediocre at best. Okay, just make that clear. Like without the passive, these items are bad. So you gotta factor in, can I use the passive or not? So like you can buy an item like, I don't know what I can think of. Like you can buy an item like Bone of Gaia, and even if they can't even knock you, if you're playing like Yorm, the item is still fine. Like you can actually use it, but this item without its passive like is pointless. So the passive, when you're hit by an enemy god, you gain a stack up to once a second, increasing your protections by 4, maximum 5 stacks. So you can only get 1 stack per second. So something like Guan's 3 isn't just gonna get you because Guan hits like every zero point 0.3 seconds, so you're not gonna get it really quickly. Like you get 1 stack per second, and that's the max. So each stack increases you by 4, max of 5. So you can get up to 20 protections from this. So you go from 20 to 60 each, which is a pretty good amount. Wait, no, 40 each. I'm stupid. Yeah, 20 to 40, which is okay. I guess it's not that good anymore. But the best part is this: at max attacks upon being hit, you're immediately healed. You're immediately healed for 15% of your maximum HP, which is really good. So it's basically like a little bit like Stone of Guy, where you get knocked up, you get healed. Now, if you get damage after you get hit, so basically, if you're getting hit by someone, you'll get this heal in team fights. But the problem is like how much anti-heal is in the game. Is that really that good? That's always something you have to think about when you're buying this item. Um, but also allies within 35 units heal for 15% of the maximum HP as well. So this is what's really good about this item. But again, I come to like, is this item late game gonna be good when everyone's just gonna have anti-heal in general? Like everyone's just gonna have brawlers. Like I just assume everyone's gonna have brawlers in Divine because like there's so much self-heal in Smite and a lot of ability healing and team healing in general and lifesteal. Chalice adds up as well, HP 5. Like all this stuff, I think you kind of need brawlers in Divine every game. And I think soloers should also buy Contagion and Pesty every game, like 100%. Because like if you're diving at ADC and he's just lifestealing from you, like what are you even doing? So I think this item is going to be really good, but again, it depends when you buy it. I think maybe people should buy this item a little bit earlier, but then you like heal up your maximum HP, so you're not getting that big of a heal anyways. So I'm this item I'm really excited to see how people use it and if it's going to be viable or not. It's a good item on paper, but because any item that works with healing, like Stone of Gaia and Mail of Renewal, like automatically gets like, it's like, okay, is this gonna actually be viable? Like, can you actually buy it? This is a whole lot of reading, but basically, so the way this might work, every item, every anti-attack speed item would stack with each other, except I think Witchblade and anything else. I think that was it, which is weird, but now it's always going to be the highest one. So let's say you have Ichval. I think Ichval applies the most attack speed reduction. I think it applies 30 after 3 auto attacks. So that will always be the one that's applying. And then like you just like, so if you had like Witchblade and Midgardian, they're gonna see what's higher, so like how many stacks you have in Midgardian, and they're gonna take that, and you're always gonna have the highest amount of anti-attack speed, attack speed reduction, basically. So, so basically, you can't stack these items anymore. You can, but you shouldn't. It's like a waste. Which was like, I kind of like that fact you can stack uh, attack speed slows together. I had like a build with Osiris that I would just literally go like Brutes, Frostbound, Inkable, Witchblade, Midgardian, and like Void Shield if I remember, and I would just run at ADCs and they literally did no damage to me because they can't auto attack you. But you know, like I don't mind it too much that they're making that change, but I think it was fine. I think attack speed was fine with it, but I think they want to make it a bit consistent because for some reason one of them, I think it's Witchblade. I should probably read this and figure it out. I don't think they say here, but one of them did work, which I think was Witchblade. It just didn't work with the other ones. So now they none of them work together. So this affects Ichable, Mannequins, Midgardien, Witchblade, Frostbound. So you don't really want to build two. Like I still think it's fine. You want to build Mannequin, like you're going Mannequin, you go Ichable as well. I think that's fine. I don't think that's actually that bad. You want to go Frostbound for the slow, and you still want to have Mannequin, or you want to have Witchblade. Like I think it's fine, but just keep in mind the attack speed slows do not stack anymore. Just keep that in mind. So then they made a couple of starter items changes. They buffed the Benevolence because no one was buying it. Everyone was buying Sentinel's Gift because the passive on Sentinels is OP. So they give this 25 more HP and they increase the gold per 5 seconds from 2 to 3. And item now has a minimum bonus gold and bonus XP value of 1. I don't know what that means. The item has no. Oh, okay, never mind. Sure, I don't know. I still think Sentinel is just better. I still think Sentinels is way better. I don't know. The Sentinel passive is just so broken that I think it's just way better than Benevolence. So okay, this is where the fun changes come, which I think are bad changes. So I already said my opinion on this to Hyris. I'm not like just complaining. Like I think changing these two items to give them sustain is a bad idea because then so like the way I saw it, you want an aggressive item is mannequin. You want to like go for kills early game, go for fights. You bought mannequin. What do you lose for mannequin? You lose the sustain. You have zero sustain. You have no HP or mana sustain, which is a pretty big deal for jungle. You had to I think the item was like not viable for anyone that isn't like diamond and masters and above. I don't think you could build this item. You would just be struggling too much with HP and mana. You gotta be really careful with how you use your health and mana, like when you're tanking and stuff. It would make it too hard for like casual players to be able to use this item. So they're like, okay, let's give it sustain and nerf it a little bit. They removed the 3 damage reduction, which was really weird to have this on in the first place. I think they had it on there to make sure that solo laners can use this item as well, which I think it should just been a jungler item and like not even not even worry about solo. But sure, is this a buff? I think this is a buff. I think this is straight up buff for all the junglers that use this item, which I think are gonna make it broken. I'm just gonna say it now. I think this item is OP on gods like Kali, on gods like Erlang, gods like Arachne as well. I don't know who else could use it as well. Like I think Amaterasu, if you would play Amaterasu jungle, you could use it. If you could play like Kokolin, you could use this item because you even have mana problems anyways. But like mainly, I think Erlang, Kali, Arachne think they get so much stronger with this item. I was already building mannequins on Erlang and I would just like accept the consequences of having less sustain. And I think that makes Kali mainly way stronger because she was already weak early game. Give her this item and she chunks early. Her auto attack chain is so good for mannequins, so I don't know. Like I'm excited for this because I love like playing Kali and Erlang, but I think it's gonna be too OP, honestly. That they're gonna have to change this item again, which I think they might end up like just removing this item if they keep trying to make it work and it doesn't work. I think you had Mannequin was the aggressive item. Boombas was the item you built for sustain and it was the safe option and it was like gonna be built 80% of the games or like 70% of the games. And again, 5% of the games people are gonna build Mannequin or probably less, like 2% honestly. And then the rest are the jungle because it's like a little bit more flexible, but you don't get the mana sustain, so you have to deal with that. So now Mannequin Scepter, best for gods like Kali Erlang. And then Eye of the Jungle, I think you would buy it on everyone else that isn't Erlang or Kali or Arachne, honestly. Maybe Baka would build Mannequin still, but he doesn't have the best auto attack chain for it, so he doesn't really utilize it as well. But it's still good for him. Like don't get me, it's still good for him. It's still good for anyone, literally. Like anyone can actually just build Mannequin and go fight people early, but it is way better on like obviously the gods who have a auto attack chain that utilizes it the best. And Eye of the Jungle also got a I wouldn't say a buff, it got a change, which I would say is a buff at the end of the day because you're buying a starter item and you're buffing the starter item in terms of sustain, which it lacked. So now you get. So they tried to change the item because ADCs were buying it. So they tried to reduce the HP 5 and then give it more sustain in the jungle to make it more of a jungler item than a lane hunter item. And they reduced the attack speed to compensate a little bit. That they gave it a little buff for the sustain, and they increased magical power because kind of give like little magical power. So like just try to make it even with the physical. I think this is the buff at the end of the day. Sure, you're losing 5 attack speed, but like who cares? I think you can actually see this item bought a lot more on gods that don't even use attack speed. I think this item is better than Bumba's in right now. Because Bumba's gives nothing. Bumba's gives 50 HP and 50 mana, which I don't know why you would buy it anymore. Unless you like even for sustain, like 10 MP5 is enough. 10 MP5 is way more than enough, I think, if you're not really trolling in jungle to like keep you topped up in terms of mana. You can always just buy a mana pot and you're chilling anyways. So I think 15 HP5 is actually more 15. It's 25 HP5 because you have the HP5 in general that you get the, like on the item and then you get the passive while you get it in the jungle you get 15 HP5. That is a lot. That's 5 health per second. That's like half a potion that you have constantly ticking for you. You don't need more health sustain and then you get extra mana sustain. So in the jungle, obviously, just keep that in mind. So like whenever you like low mana, just stay in the jungle so you get the MP5. I think this is a buff. I think Boombiz is bad now. I don't think anyone should buy Boombiz anymore. If you want more sustain, they both give sustain now, so I don't even know what's the point of Boombiz, honestly. Obviously, Boombiz gives more sustain. Let me just make that clear. Boombiz still gives more sustain. Boombiz would have still been OP on set if they haven't done a change that I will show you guys later. That would still buy Boombiz on set, but not anymore. I would maybe buy down Tsukiyomi still. Tsukiyomi is still really good with Boombiz because he has range autos that can utilize it. But I don't really know any other character that like I really want Boomba's hammer, so I would build Boomba's early game. I don't think anyone should build Boomba's anymore, but I could be wrong. Like obviously these are all my opinions. I haven't actually tested the sustain yet with these items, so maybe Boomba's is still so much better that you would want to buy it still. But I think Mankin Scepter is number one for the gods that use it, and then I have the jungle, and Boomba's just comes in third. Which when I say before, it was like you kind of just reverse the order. It was Boomba's, I have the jungle, Mannequin, so like from best to worst, and I think now you basically just flipped it, in my opinion, anyways. Because the only one thing Mannequin lacked was sustain. Now you give it sustain, and the item is super strong, super strong. Um, Protector of the Jungle, they nerfed it a little bit because it was too strong late game, which I don't mind. They nerfed it from 65 to 55, so they took 10 power and 10 attack speed and 20 magical power. That's completely fine. I don't really mind it. I still think this is just like a lot better than Bumbus, so I would rather build this anyways. Unless maybe on Tsukiyomi, which we'll see. So they buffed Send of Time because everyone was just building Conduit Gem, so they had to change buff this a little bit. So 50 less gold and 5 more MP5. It's just straight up buffs, and I don't see any problem with it. And they nerfed Sentinel's Gift because everyone was buying Sentinel's Gift, no one was buying Benevolence, so they buffed Benevolence and nerfed Sentinel's Gift to try and bring them a little bit closer together. And they will. I think they're thinking of buffing Warflag. I don't know if they did it here. Okay, they did. Never mind. Get to Warflag. Tainted Steel. I think this item is actually really strong. I think this item is going to be like a necessity against some comps. Like, I think if you're playing against Hell, like as a solo, you want to just build this. I played this solo a couple games against Cocolin, who was building this item, and it was really annoying to play against because like he has his one that gives 50% anti-heal, then it adds up with this. It was really annoying to deal with this in lane. I was playing Guan, and it was like a lot of anti-heal. So these are just straight up buffs to the item, which I think is good. I think you want to have a lot of variety in solo. So I like this. I like starter items changes in general. I think that's like where most of the spice comes in. Smite like when from the early game anyways. So yeah, they just straight up buff Tainted Steel, Destal. I think they just buffed it, right? So they reduced the gold by 100. 100 is a lot. That's like 2 extra potions. Decrease health resource scaling from 0.5 to 0.4. So they gave it less sustain, but they gave it better everything else. So they buffed the item, but nerfed the sustain. Because I think it gave too much sustain anyways. I don't even think you needed that much sustain, honestly. So because with Destal, I think you still build lifesteal. Did you still build lifesteal? Or did you just use the Death's Embrace? I don't actually remember. I think people didn't really build this item that much. Everyone kind of just built the Carol, so I'm not sure. But they nerfed the sustain on the item and they gave it more power in general. And they fixed that you could heal from towers and phoenixes because they just don't. That's like an exploit kind of. So I'd say this is a buff overall. Try to make it. Try to have some competition between this and the cow. Same change here with Death's Embrace. No longer heals of towers and phoenixes. They buffed Vampiric Strike because also no one was building this item. Wait, were people building this item? Oh no, they're just changing it from more to focus on offense and less on defense. Because I think John Kui built this item, but I didn't see people build this item. So they reduce the cost. I'm pretty sure that's just a straight nerf though. I think this is just a nerf, but I don't know. 10 power is not like 5 plus is better than 10 power early in the game. And they reduced the sustain as well. They made it cheaper. I think this needs to be a little bit better, but maybe I'm wrong. But I haven't played against any solo who built this item, which I think is mainly a solo item. I don't think it's good for mid. So maybe it was already good, but like I literally haven't played against any magicals in solo, so but I don't think this item is good. It's probably annoying to deal with, but I don't think it's actually good. Alright. War flag. Increase buff duration from 8 to 10. Cool the passive and the ward banner as well. So they just buffed the I mean, hmm, it's a good change. I do think if the item has gold GP5 it would be a lot better. So if you get like passive gold with the item, like you do with Benevolence, it would be a lot better. But you don't want to make it OP because then people will just buy it. So you have to be really careful with how they buff and nerf this item. This item is supposed to be like an aggressive option for the early game. You'd have to really abuse it to like make it work because you will just be automatically behind and you're gonna have a worse passive late game. I think the passive isn't that bad on Warflag, but it's not as good as like Sentinel and Benevolence even. That's just Sentinel. Sentinel is just the passive is insane. That just makes it clear when the hard bomb is gonna stun or not. So now you can actually see if the hard bomb will stun you or not. So like we don't have to call it like as because like your teammate is Cupid and like you don't know if that's gonna stun or not. So you don't know if it's like a setup or not. And then also your own team knows like so if my teammate gets Cupid hard bomb, do I need to step away from him because I'm gonna get stunned or just tank it and run away kind of thing. So the decrease the post fire is ultimate from 0.73 to 0.4. You still need to, oh, it's because Hashman was clunky after this season, so they're just changing that. I wonder if they're gonna do the same with Rama as well, trying to make his ult less clunky because of the trees they block his vision. Yeah, so this is the change I was talking about with Set. Set remembers how it was broken straight up like maybe the most broken thing in the game because every time you press your two, every time you use a clone, you would get like a proc, which worked with Hydras and Boomba's Hammer. And now this item, which is kind of sad, it doesn't work at all with either. So you cannot auto cancel with your two to get a Hydras and Boomba's proc. So Hydras was the way it worked last season. People didn't see a problem with that. But when you add it with Boomba's Hammer, it was a pretty big deal, and they want to keep it consistent. So the ability doesn't work like that anymore, which is sad, but might have been a bit necessary. I still think Set is good. That basically just brings Set back to what he used to be in solo and mid, because you only build Bombas in jungle, so that just makes him worse in jungle and still the same in the other lanes, in my opinion. So, and Mulan got triple buffed, which is pretty nice. I love Mulan, but I don't think she's a good junglist. I never played her that much. I think she's a pretty decent guy. I think she's definitely underplayed, honestly. Hey, she just one shots her 2-1, like let she do like 1k damage when they're leveled up. So decrease the slow on her 2 from 2 seconds to 3 seconds, and decrease the cooldown on the 3 because it was honestly pretty long. So now it goes down to 14. Now we can. This is the biggest change of all. Obviously, you can now cancel the ult. So I would say you probably want to use the root knockup and then do not fire the arrow and just move. Or you could also just use it to escape more often. Like you don't have to. People cannot block you to make sure you stand in the ult. Even if they block you, you can still cancel that as soon as you dash away. So this is a very, very big buff, like probably the biggest buff she's received so far. After like the first patch, because she was like really bad at the first patch, I think. But actually no, this is straight up the biggest buff she's ever got. Her ult was always the biggest problem. Why can you not cancel this? So now you do. So I'm excited to see. I think she'll see a lot more play right now in solo. Don't know if she'll be OP yet. I think we'll see. We'll end up seeing how she turned out. Um, Athena. Okay, so obviously everyone knows I love Athena a lot, and I used to play her a lot like 2 seasons ago. Yeah, 2 seasons ago I was playing her, and before obviously when I was on Elevate and I was on Renegades a little bit as well. Athena's such a weird god. I think Athena's like her ult is OP. I'll just say that her ult's the best part about her kit, the fact that you can rotate that fast. She's the only Guardian that has that ability. Like obviously you have like Apollo, you have Bug, you have Yanis. They can kind of rotate across the map. Tino is the only Guardian that can do that, which is and I feel it's the most useful on a Guardian anyways, the ability to rotate across the map. So they basically changed the taunt. So it used to go from 1 to 2 seconds, now it's 1.2 to 2 seconds, which is a buff, and it does more damage. So both buffs obviously. The damage is like not really a big deal. Like I wouldn't say like that makes her OP or anything. 30% killing 170 power is like kind of negligible almost. The taunt increase at the start is good because that taunt at rank 1 was really awful. Is Athena OP? I still don't think she's good. I think she's still like bad. I think she doesn't offer enough. If you're not abusing her ult as a team, she doesn't offer enough. She's like kind of lags. She's too predictable. Her dash is probably the worst dash in the game because it's like her charge up time. And I think as soon as they adjust that, the charge up time on Athena, she'll be like a top tier support. And then they need to nerf her a little bit. But I think as long as she has that dash, she makes her not that good. Her ult is broken if you can utilize her all the first like 20 minutes of the game and get a lead. I think she is really OP, but it's really hard to do that against coordinated teams and players. Horus got double buffed. I think this is 2-1. just lower the cooldown on both from 16 to 13. Um, sorry, from 16 to 14 to 15 to 13. So just one less second at all ranks. I don't mind it. Horus kind of wasn't really picked for for a long time. He was picked a lot by Genetics last season and Rongyu, and they both like abused the ult a little bit, try to make cool play. Well, Genetics abused the ult a little bit. Sanguine and Rongyu, they just kind of abused 2-1 and like they're probably the best team at using the 3 with like Panatom blinking in and Joker blinking in. They had really good engages with Horus. But everyone else just like the god is not that good. Like whenever someone picked Horus against us, we're happy. We're like, okay, they have a support that's like pretty one-dimensional. The ult is hard to use well, I'd say. If everyone gets good at using the ult, I think he'll be a lot higher level. But his whole kit outside the ult was like, okay, you're good at one thing and that's it. You're 2-1 and like whatever. Other supports are just offered a little bit more, but it's a good buff to bring him closer. Anyways, I think they should just Genetics kind of tweeted about it. I think they should give him damage mitigation on the ult, only for himself though, not for the whole team. That would be broken. Just for himself, so he can he can ult more in the middle of team fights to kind of teleport his team in or out, which I think is the coolest thing about the god, and which what we should focus on to make him more fun to play and like more viable is working on the ult, because that's the most fun thing about him. AMC gets buffed. Don't want to play against Thor playing AMC. That god is so annoying to play against and somewhat broken, but really bad. Like he's either OP or bad. He's one of those gods. Like so you can pull one more hive on the map, and the honey does 10% more damage at max rank and gradually scales up a little bit. And the slow honey, not damage, sorry, slows more. I don't think that makes him OP, so that's fine. It makes him more annoying, which is annoying because you don't wanna give him more, make his slow even more annoying. But whatever. Just a straight up buff to AMC. I think the god is good actually. I think he can. You need to work around him as a team, but I think he can be a very strong second carry. He should never be your main carry because he could die a lot. But if he's getting focused and you have like a mage that's free casting, he does so much like AoE damage and poke and like just like he's always gonna be top damage and kind of shows you the true strength of the god. Like in team fights, you might not notice it. It just does a lot of damage over like the course of a team fight. So um, Shablanki pretty much a straight up buff. They made his two better. So the darts that he throws used to only hit 3. So if you're minimum range, like point blank range, yeah, you would only hit 3 even if you hit more. So now you can hit 5. So if someone's really on top of you, like an assassin or a support is on top of you, you can hit more, and they also increase the darts fired in general. So the cone is still the same, but the distance between each dart is smaller. So hopefully that makes sense. Not trying to make it complicated. You just fire 15 darts instead of 10, and it's the same radius, or not radius, same width, I guess. Yeah. So the spaces between the darts are smaller, so it's gonna be pretty easy to hit those. And that's what I'm saying. If someone's close to you, you're getting hit by 5, getting hit by 4 maybe. So just doing more damage in general. Little Thor buff because he kind of just wasn't being picked that much because Thor is like just a very standard jungler. You can pick him any game, but he doesn't excel at anything, I would say. Obviously, he has a global ult, but I think the problem with Thor, when people run at you, you're just not really, you can't really do much. When like another jungler or support or soloner runs at you, you can't fight back. You can't just spin, like you're just dying to their auto attacks. So he's such a weird god, but he's probably one of the best junglers late game easily up there with like hyper carries. Then he is like the best ability jungler because he just has the potential to land on you from the sky and just one shot you, and he's the only jungler that can do that. So Soul passive buff because her heat would, yeah, I don't know. They keep playing around with Soul's passive all the time, so now it just like dissipates slower. So it goes down slower. It goes down from 100 to 0, just a little bit slower. A push buff. I don't want a push buff. I hope he dies and won't have to worry about them because that god is fucking annoying as fuck. You get more healing from the corpses, like that was his passive. You get HP back every time you eat a corpse or whatever. You pick up a corpse, so now it goes up from 5% to 7%. That kind of buffs a push solo, I would say, more than it buffs a push jungle. So we'll see. Maybe watch out for Emil and ranked whipping this one out. And the corpse explosion, that's just a straight up buff for the initial, like the two alone. just from 10% to 20 to make it do a little bit more damage, but it's not really that big of a deal, so I wouldn't really worry about this. I say this is the bigger buff here, just buffing his hybrid tank potential, I guess. Loki got buffed. I don't know why. I think Loki's completely fine, but they buffed the scaling on his three. But there's nothing else. They just buffed the scaling on his three. Each hit goes from 18 to 25. So wait, that's not his three. That's his two, isn't it? Wait, that's his three. Yeah, that's his three. I don't know why I thought it was two. Wait, what about the last one though? So I guess the last one is still the same because it's not. I don't know what it was called. I think the last one is still didn't change. They just buffed like the small takes that H3 did. So 35% more scaling. That's kind of a big deal. I mean, guess we'll see. I think Loki's pretty good. I think Loki full damage is good. I think Loki tank is not that good anymore. I think if you want to play Loki go full damage and you work around like his two mainly would be his main ability late game. You just try to get good positioning of your two and it does a lot of damage. Like you don't want to really mess around with that ability. It ticks really fast, so it ends up doing a lot of damage in general if you go full damage. If you go like a mace build with Heartseeker Titans, Crusher, and I would say maybe build Mannequin. Oh, Mannequin might be sick on Loki now, dude. I think his attack is actually good for it. And if you get the Mannequin Blade, I don't know which one it is. The one on the left, the one on the right, the one that isn't auto attack based, the one that you do 15% of someone's HP every like 10 seconds or something, or every time you're out of combat, whatever. That would be sick on him. I think that might be like the Loki build, but I'm just like thinking about this now for some reason. But I intended this video to be 10 minutes, and it ends up being 40 because I'm stupid. I thought this would be a lot faster, but I talk a lot, or maybe that's just how it is. Like there's a lot to talk about. So sorry if I made this too long. Let me know. Obviously, I do know I have a problem where I like speak or swallow my words or talk too fast. So obviously I'll try to work on that as I like do more commentary and more videos. So, but like leave me any feedback you have on the patch notes, what you think of the patch notes, what you think of me reviewing them if you like this sort of content or if I just focus on gameplay stuff. And leave me any feedback in general you have like about next videos, ideas, suggestions about what I'm doing. I'd really appreciate it. Um, and thank you guys for watching, and I'm gonna try to provide more and better content as like the season goes on. And I really appreciate all the support I've been getting like in general. Um, since I started posting videos, obviously it's gonna be like a slow climb, but just the people who comment on every video, I really do appreciate you and thank you guys. Love all of you, and I'll see you guys in another video. Peace out.